What's up, Garbage Rollers community? It is Impossible German, aka Jason. And what's going on here, and for I think most of the rest of this week, is we're going to post some footage that we shot in the Mall of America on food court tables. Notice that the mats are kind of hanging off the circle there, and this is kind of the best that we could get on short notice while we were waiting for hotel rooms to open up and everything. We got to Minnesota for the community celebration pretty early. And so this is what we could do. We knew the audio was not going to be usable because we're in a mall food court right now. And so we knew that we were going to overdub it. And so that's kind of what you're going to see this weekend. And so at this point, I think we have forgotten to do the usual mulligan analysis. And we're going to go ahead and start. So we've got Tyler on your right, playing Grand Inquisitor Blue, and I am on the left playing Chirrut Red. Now, I didn't get a chance to print out any of my stuff heading into this weekend, and so I'm using decks that are unfamiliar to me. And one of the ways that you're going to be able to tell that is by my play, which is atrocious. So we started this game with Tyler playing a scout bike and using Grand Inquisitor to ready it and smack me for 3. I did not have a round 1 play because Tyler tends to build a little higher curve than I do, and so I didn't mulligan properly. I should have taken what I had. And so I start this round with Yoda, and he is correctly guessing that he's the beatdown in this situation, and he's going to go ahead and smack me for another 3. After that, it looks like I claim the initiative, and we get ready to head into the next round. He's going to go ahead and use Power of the Dark Side and take out my lone Yoda, which is going to be so great for helping him keep the pressure on. I don't do well in this set of games. This Chirrut Red is kind of unfamiliar to me, and I actually think that Tyler's GI Blue is really, really good, and he plays it super duper well. But even if I had decimated him or something like that, the big win here is that Tyler no longer is talking bad about Power of the Dark Side. Power of the Dark Side is an absolutely incredible unit here, or not unit, an incredible event. Tyler was a little skeptical, but he has seen the light. And so I finally used Tarkentown to take care of that scout bike. I should have done that earlier. That's a play that I had access to and just didn't, kind of looking for a better opportunity. But it never came, and I decided to kind of go ahead and slow the bleeding and rectify that mistake. I would have been in a lot better situation if I had gone ahead and used Tarkentown earlier. Over on Tyler's side of the board, after I clear off his scout bike, he goes ahead and puts down Death Trooper. Doesn't get a clean kill, but does get Sabine damaged. And then Death Star Stormtrooper going down as well. So obviously you're looking for a clean kill on that Stormtrooper with Sabine. I don't think I'm going to get it because GI has initiative on this particular round, but I do have a little bit of presence in space, and Restored Arc has some heal on him. So it's not impossible at this point to imagine stabilizing, but Tyler does have a lot of momentum with this Grand Inquisitor deck, especially now. You have to imagine he's going to have a way to deal with Sabine efficiently here. So we will see what happens. One thing that is worth noting is, no, actually, never mind. I was going to say that Chirrut might have a way to help out here, but it doesn't look like we're going to have the time. So we're up to 5 resources. This is the round that Chirrut deploys. We'll go ahead and swing in Restored Arc and heal. And you have to imagine that Tyler is going to just keep the pressure on, keep swinging face until I do something to stop it. Looks like I'm thinking about what to do here. There's a lot of things. I see a K2 in my hand. I see a wolf. And it looks like the wolf is going to come down. I'm just looking for bodies on the board at this point. And that seventh sister is going to pretty severely limit what Tyler can do this round. He's got the Grand Inquisitor stand-up play, which I think he's going to go ahead and do. But once this seventh sister is used, that's going to be pretty much it for Tyler's turn. I've still got some resources. I've still got a Chirrut available. And so if I play my cards right, this could be a moment where I turn it around. I don't think that I do. I don't usually go in the tank as long as I go in the tank right here. But I think some mistakes have been made, and yeah. So red 3 comes down, and seventh sister has Saboteur, and when she hits the base, you can do 3 damage to a unit, and so she does that to get a clean kill on my wolf while going ahead and keeping that pressure on. And so red 3 buffs Chirrut up a little bit, and I'm able to swing into the base for 4, but we got 2 high attack units over there, and we're going to have to do something about that. I think that the GI deck not having a lot that it does in space early is helping me out a lot here, but I did see an interceptor over in Tyler's hand, so it's entirely possible that my out in the space lane over here is going to be very short-lived indeed. So we'll see what old Tyler does. Yep, he's going to go ahead and capitalize on value early, get rid of that red 3, and leave a interceptor for me to sort out later. And now it's up to me to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my time. Grand Inquisitor is going to come out this turn. He deploys at 6 resources. But once he's out, Tyler has spent almost all of his money for the turn, and so it's possible that I've got another window there. Takedown comes out of the hand to stop Seventh Sister from getting any more free value on me. And then, again, this is a situation where it's entirely possible that in a different game you want to use that 1 health Death Trooper to trade into something. But with me not having a round 1 play and Power the Dark Side taking out that Yoda in round 2 and me failing to use Tarkentown to stop the bleeding, Tyler's just correctly identified that he's the beatdown here. And so when there's a choice between damaging the base or damaging a unit, until something about the momentum of this game changes, and it hasn't so far, Tyler's firmly in control, he needs to kind of prioritize hitting the base. It's advantageous for him to do that, and so he is going to keep doing it. He used Grand Inquisitor here to swing into the base and ready that interceptor. I think it's really cool that that Inquisitor can ready space units as well. I think that's pretty awesome. And normally you wouldn't be able to do it with the interceptor because the leader side of Grand Inquisitor does 2 damage to the unit that it readies. But instead he gets to do it. And after he swings in and gets that interceptor ready, I go ahead and use Carabast to finish it off to, again, try to slow down damage as much as I can. Chirrut's definitely doing work here. I think the community has very correctly identified that the unit side of Chirrut just has a ton of cool stuff that it can do. But at the end of the day, it's a situation where there's just so much momentum on Tyler's side of the board and not a lot going on to stabilize. So one of the only really truly clean ways to get rid of Chirrut in a timely manner is Dooku, and so naturally he comes down onto the board, and now I have a 5/4 shielded unit to get through here that's just going to keep doing momentum. And yeah, it's tough. In comes Obi-Wan Kenobi, who can do some work. That's Justin's hand that you saw there, putting the old Sentinel reminder on the board. Justin's hand being one of the more shapely appendages on the entire garbage roller crew. I have hands. You can see one of them here, but they're just not quite as effective as Justin's hands. Justin's hands are just really magnificent creatures. If you've ever gotten a good look at them, you probably haven't. You're watching this on YouTube, and you can only zoom in so far, and 4K really isn't enough definition to properly convey the majesty of these hands. It's just important to understand how great Justin's hands are. This is where we check whether he's listening back to the audio before he syncs and uploads it. My guess is no. My guess is I'm going to go on a 30-second. Actually, we're closing in on a minute tirade about his hands here, and he's going to have no idea until somebody tags him. So maybe don't even do that. Let's see how long we can make it without Justin realizing that I know how incredible his hands are. That Obi-Wan did a lot of good work. It got GI off the board, but a nice timely shield from Security Complex enabled Death Trooper to get some more damage on Obi, and so it only slowed him down for a moment. The only impact left of Obi was those 2 experience token on old restored arcs. So hopefully we can start getting some more base swings here. But at the end of the day, we've got 8 damage just on the ground lane, and I need clean kills on those guys if I've got any shots. So we'll see what happens. Here comes Kanan. I think that's my only option right now for ground presence, and it's not going to be enough. So Palpatine comes down on the other side of the board. Just in this color combination, it's so devastating to have Dooku into Palpatine if you're already behind. Just really, really rough stuff. And so Palpatine goes ahead and clears out that restored arc and puts a damage on Kanan for his trouble. So that will be a pretty clean kill for at least Dooku. And then you still got a lot of pressure, and I think I've kind of stalled out in my hand. Yeah, and so this is where I'm going to go ahead and scoop. That's way too much momentum for me to overcome, and I've got no good removal options for his board, so decided not to drag that out any further. A lot of times I'll kind of let him play out, but this was just one of those games where I was playing something unfamiliar to me. I made a key mistake early by not Tarkin Towning that scout bike when I really should have, to stop some of that early bleeding, and that Power of the Dark Side was a blowout. And a couple of key early mistakes like that really can cause the snowball to happen, and that's precisely what went down. So rather than belabor the point any longer, we go ahead and scoop. So I'm looking now at the sideboard that Tyler has put together, and I think my thought is I was a little uncomfortable with the higher cost curve of that deck. Tyler tends to build things with a higher curve than I do, and so I'm going to look for some higher cost cards. In this case, I've pulled out 2 maces, and I'm going to throw in some more healing. I'm going to throw in 3 copies of Devotion to kind of give me a little bit more stabilization if I run into another situation where Grand Inquisitor is just really aggroing. And then I think I might have resourced a couple of red 3s. I didn't feel like it was as relevant as it needed to be. And the other thing is that red 3, being 3 resources and 3 health, is just a particularly juicy target for the interceptors that I know are in his deck. And so I don't swap out all of the red 3, but I take out 1 because I wasn't super happy with it in this last game. So Tyler drew a bunch of high cost stuff in his opening hand, and so he's going to go ahead and throw that back, and we'll see what he gets next time. Over on the left, you can see me doing the obnoxious hard shuffle that I do because I'm terrible at shuffling cards the normal way. And so, yeah, that's what I do because I'm incompetent. Actually, everything that you've seen me do in this video is because I am just sort of thoroughly, deeply incompetent. I did finally win a game against Justin and Tyler at the once we had the real cards at the community celebration. But notably, it was not caught on camera. I don't think we have any video proof of me beating either of these guys. They're killer players with a ton of reps, and I'm garbage. Not in the good way either. A lot of times being garbage around here is a compliment. Sometimes we say it to each other as a sort of a sweet nothing when we're feeling affectionate. But what I mean is that I'm actually garbage. And so, here coming up is an opportunity to redeem myself. You can see me straightening my base, straightening Chirrut to give the illusion that I know what I'm doing. But I don't. I absolutely do not. And if you're planning to watch me crap the bed for a second game in a row, I feel like you're going to be just incredibly pleased with the footage that we have for you today. So I lost the last game, which feels topical. And that means that I'm going to go ahead and take the initiative. I tell you what, Tyler's hands are not shabby in and of themselves. Just great hands everywhere. My fingers look like sausages. So that's what you want. So it's a force throw and something. That other card is definitely a card. It's you can play it in your decks, but I certainly don't know what it is or what it does. But it's irrelevant on account of Tyler just resourced it. Here comes the Scout Bike Pursuer, and it looks like I'm going to go ahead and claim, but I did have a round one this time. Oh, no, I did not. I did not claim. What I did instead was pass, just in case he decided to do the old shenanigans with Grand Inquisitor to damage Scout Bike and ready him, and I would have Tarkin Town in that case. The delay here, to my memory, is that Justin is having a sort of philosophical debate with Tyler over whether it's right to claim or force me to use Tarkin Town in that scenario. Tyler is gesturing wildly. He's pretty angry at Justin here. I believe he threatened to quit over this particular philosophical debate. Oh, but he's calmed down now. That's good. And it is interesting. I think Justin's argument was like, you go ahead and ready Scout Bike Pursuer, and if that forces Tarkin Town to get used, then you're pretty happy with that because that's his base gone, and you've done it on a pretty inconsequential unit. But it's really hard to know where the value is there. It's really hard to know that because there's just a lot of variables in the air there. I'm not sure that you can definitively say which way is right and which way is wrong. So Scout Bike goes ahead and does its little chip damage. So you can totally argue at this point that he's done the correct thing because I believe I'm not going to make the mistake again. I think now that he's readied Scout Bike, I am going to, go ahead and Tarkin Town him off the board. So technically, Tyler got 1 damage out of it that I healed up with Restored Arcs. So kind of a wash, but what are you going to do? Inferno 4 comes out. Love this card. We got to spoil this one. I think it's just a really solid staple 2-cost space unit for blue villain. And Tyler decides to leave the 2 cards that it peaks at on top. So you must like that very much. And this Yoda comes out. Not going to get Vomushed off the board with Power of the Dark Side this time. Tyler doesn't have enough resources. We did not do a very good job at showing the camera what we had going on. So I've mostly played digital to this point, and so I'm very out of habit of what the order thinks. So I think that this is about the point in the day where I finally started readying and resourcing in the proper order so that I wasn't committing mild crimes against the rule set. So Inferno 4 is going to schmack me. Interesting choice there. I'm going to go ahead and use Chirrut to do something. And this is my first time using the Chirrut ability. And so we're looking for an appropriate token. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, and then we turn it upside down, and that's how we remembered. That's how we remembered what I had Chirruted. There's no good Chirrut tokens. So, and I forget why I did that. I think that I'm okay if he wants to use. Hey, looky there. That was just a random passerby who noticed that we were playing Star Wars and happened to have a Star Wars tattoo. So that's pretty awesome. We encouraged him to show it to the camera there. So Star Wars fans everywhere you see. It's cool. We actually had a lot of people that were very interested in what we were doing in the mall food court here. So it was cool to have those conversations and get to tell them a little bit about this cool game we all enjoy. So out comes Death Trooper. Old boy is going to throw 2 health there. So Chirrut's buff is going to go away at the end of the round. So it's entirely possible that damage becomes relevant. We'll see what I can do with it. I've got... So I see that copy of the Forces with me in my hand. I think I give very serious consideration to doing it. Yep, I'm going for it. So Forces with me is a really cool 4-cost event. It's going to give a unit 2 experience tokens and let you attack with them immediately. And if it's a Force unit, you throw a shield on them as well. Yoda, of course, is. And so I'm going to go ahead and just smack base for 4. Yoda has Restore 2, but I have no damage on my base to this point, and so I'm going to go ahead and attack with it. I think that Tyler has claimed there, and so I go ahead and smack his base with the Restored Arc again. So this is a situation where the beatdown has kind of switched around. I'm in the lead here. I've got pretty solid presence in both lanes. And so, yeah. So I've got a Devotion in hand. I've got a Carabast. So hopefully we are not too far behind here. Head to the next round. Inferno 4 is going to trade. Look at those 2 cards again. Force Choke, 7 Sister. Looks like he's got... Again, there's a little audio sync issue that just happened, so if this audio is slightly off, you have my apologies. But we'll kind of talk about the general shape of this game here. What I just did on my screen was use Carabast to get Old Death Trooper off, and then Power of the Dark Side is going to really get some value on me here with that experienced step Yoda. Again, just very pleased that Tyler has finally come around on that card. And the issue here, I've got more damage on his base, and we've got things going on. Chirrut's gonna go ahead and come out. Inferno 4 again on the space side is what it looks like Tyler's got going on. And the issue is just that this GI Blue deck has way more of a late game, way more of a top end than I'm kind of prepared to do here. So we put a Jedi lightsaber on Chirrut. That's going to make him just a total monster in the ground lane. What we really need to not happen, this is really tough, is we need another Power of the Dark Side to not pop up. That would be an absolute blowout in this situation, and I think I'm aware of that. Tyler's going to resource a Ruthless Raider. Love that card. So again, this looks pretty good for me, especially on ground, but Fang Fighter is going to get great value. Take off that Jedi lightsaber, and we'll see what I decide to do here. I've got It Binds All Things. I've got K2SO. I've got Sabine. And so I think what I decide to do here is play the card that I really know that I want to play. Get K2SO on the board. Again, my apologies if there's any sync issues from this point and we're not quite on. I'll try to speak a little bit more time agnostic here. Shape of this round is looking pretty good for old Tyler. He's going to take this opportunity to try to catch up on damage a little bit. He's going to ready Inferno 4. I'm safely passing here. I'm feeling really good. I know that he really wants to deploy Grand Inquisitor here. And so Tyler correctly calls after I attack Grand Inquisitor with Chirrut. He knows I've got It Binds All Things. And sure enough, I do. So that heals Chirrut, gets rid of Grand Inquisitor, which feels pretty good. But he got a lot of value out of GI this round by readying Fang Fighter and readying Inferno 4. So he's feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good too. I've got Chirrut still alive heading into round 7 or round 6, I should say. Force Choke comes out and is going to... We'll see what he does. Yeah, just Chirrut. I do draw my card. I believe Justin reminded me about that. Thanks. And so Chirrut's going to go away at the end of the round. But for posterity's sake, I decided not to take him away right away. Just a little reminder of the power of Chirrut. So that Force Choke was real good. This is a tough resourcing decision. I go ahead and put Force Choke down because I'm not positive that I'm going to end up with a Force unit anytime soon. So anytime you got K2SO on the board, you got to feel pretty good. You know, at least 3 more damages coming into the base unless something truly wild happens. So one thing that I do feel pretty good about here heading into this round is that GI can't ready either of the space units that he's got. They've only got 1 health left. So, yeah. We'll see what I decide to do here. I do think that I give pretty serious thought to just replacing this K2SO with another K2SO. And I've definitely heard of worse ideas. He puts 2 damage into Restored Arc. I go ahead and put 2 more health on K2, kind of as a stalling tactic. Kind of a free pass, I think. I think Tyler got more out of that round than I did in some ways, so I don't quite want to give him the opportunity to claim yet. Viper Probe Droid comes out, so he's going to take a peek at my hand. We all are, actually. It's a K2, a Sabine, and a takedown. So I'm not sure what the last card is in his hand, but he's got 5 resources. So I'm giving some pretty heavy consideration as to what I want to do with what I've got going on. I think that I actually end up overriding K2 here. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I do. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I feel pretty good about having gotten a swing in with the K2. I go ahead and pitch the old one and get some damage. And then I also... He's got 1 card in hand. And I actually think that I give some consideration to using the other K2 trigger. But I don't. I think maybe the next one I do that. 5th brother gets resource over on his side. I don't know exactly what Tyler had in his hand, but whatever it was, he couldn't play it with 5 resources, or he really did not want to. I go ahead and resource an A-wing. I'm not feeling great about the space lane at this point, especially something that's going to take time to get going. And again, I am very sorry if this is confusing because of the sync issue. I'm surely a couple of seconds off in one direction or the other. I'm not sure which at this point. Oofa doofa. That's going to be a board clear. What I'm seeing on my screen is Palpatine coming down on old Tyler's side of the board. And I've got him at 21 health, although I do think that I give some strong consideration to taking his last card away, putting him into top deck mode. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Palpatine is a really strong stabilization tool. I think the only good use of my resources this turn is going to be to get a takedown on that Fang Fighter, which I want to do to save the red 3 coming down. And then I get not my favorite hand, more removal that doesn't quite get rid of Palp. And so what I really want is another body. That Vanquish takes out red 3. And at this point, Tyler has pretty good control over me. I drew 2 events. Sabine, when she comes out, if she comes out, is just going to get annihilated by either Palpatine or Viper Probe Droid. And so, just pretty tough stuff for me here. And this is a situation where it looked like I had a good amount of control in the early game and then just absolutely failed to stabilize. And so the best thing I can do in this situation is get rid of the probe droid for a bad trade. And then Palp is going to hit me for 6. And that's... I got to draw an out here, and I don't know that there is even one in the deck. And so Palpatine is going to do the job. Again, Vanquish was still on my sideboard, and so, yeah, it just didn't work out. That Palpatine was pretty strong. My video just ended, so I hope that you will come back at a future point in time and watch some more of these cool videos from Mall of America, everybody. We'll see you around.